How did my sister's small problems turn into a police case with my name on it? Why did my parents protect the image of a perfect family even when it destroyed mine? Can a quiet, lawful plan beat a loud lie when everyone wants to pretend nothing happened? My name is Ethan Mallory, and I'm 38 years old. I work as a compliance analyst at a mid-sized logistics company, the kind of job where you check boxes, verify signatures, and make sure everyone follows the rules. It's boring work, but it suits me. I like order. I like knowing that if you follow procedure, things work out the way they're supposed to. That belief kept me sane for a long time. Until it didn't. I should tell you about my family first because you won't understand how I ended up here without knowing the rules we lived by. Not written rules, the unspoken kind, the kind that shape you before you even realize they exist. Rule number 1. Serena doesn't have problems. She has stress. She has bad luck. She has a rough patch. But never problems, never consequences. Never anything that might suggest our family isn't exactly what it appears to be from the outside. My sister is 33, 5 years younger than me, and she's been going through something for as long as I can remember. I stopped trying to name it years ago. My parents certainly never did. When Serena lost her third job in 2 years, my mother called it workplace politics. When she couldn't make rent and needed money, it was temporary cash flow. When strange people started calling the house at odd hours, it was friends from her networking group. I became the fixer by default, the quiet one, the responsible one, the one who gave her rides when her car broke down again, who covered small bills when she was between paychecks, who made excuses to extended family when she didn't show up for holidays. I told myself I was helping. That's what family does, right? But lately, the pattern had been getting worse. Missed shifts became lost jobs. Lost jobs became missed payments. Missed payments became strange calls at 2 a.m, voices I didn't recognize asking for Serena with an edge that made my stomach tight. I started noticing things. The way she'd look past me when she talked, the way her stories never quite lined up, the way she'd disappear for days and then reappear like nothing had happened. I tried asking questions once. Just once. We were at my parents' house for Sunday dinner, the weekly ritual my mother guards like a religion. Serena was there, looking tired but composed, wearing that careful smile she uses when she needs something. My father sat at the head of the table, quiet as always, letting my mother run the show. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. So how's the new job? I asked Serena, cutting into my chicken. Good, she said, not looking at me. Really good. That's wonderful, honey, my mother jumped in, her voice bright and sharp. She's doing so well. They love her there. I nodded, chewing slowly, waited a beat, then, where is it again? You never actually said. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Serena's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. My mother's smile went rigid. My father suddenly became very interested in his mashed potatoes. Why are you interrogating her? My mother asked, her voice still light but with steel underneath. Can't we just have a nice dinner? I'm not interrogating anyone. I'm just asking. You're always so critical of her, my mother continued, and now the smile was gone entirely. Always judging. She's doing her best, Ethan. Not everyone can be perfect like you. I felt heat rise in my chest, but I swallowed it down. That's what I always did. Swallow it down. Stay calm. Don't make waves. I'm not trying to be critical, I said quietly. Maybe if you supported your sister instead of questioning her all the time, she wouldn't have so much stress. My mother stood up, gathering plates even though we weren't finished eating. You have no idea what she's been through. Serena sat there, her face carefully neutral, but I caught something in her eyes, something that looked almost like satisfaction, like she'd won a game I didn't know we were playing. I didn't bring it up again. I learned. At work, I was careful, methodical. I checked documents 3 times before signing off. I kept detailed notes. I followed every procedure to the letter. It gave me a sense of control, I guess. A sense that somewhere in my life, facts still mattered. Evidence still mattered. Truth still mattered. I lived alone in a small 1-bedroom apartment on the east side of town. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. Quiet. Organized. A place where I could reset after family dinners, after giving Serena another ride, after making another excuse. I'd stand in my kitchen, pour a glass of water, and breathe slowly until the tightness in my chest loosened. It was a Tuesday night, almost 11, when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. I'd learned that unknown numbers after 10 p.m. usually meant Serena needed something, but something made me pick up. Hello? Silence on the other end. Not empty silence. I could hear background noise, voices, the hollow echo of a large room. Hello? I said again. Click. The line went inactive. I stared at the screen, my pulse picking up for no reason I could name. Then the phone buzzed again. Voicemail. I pressed play. This call is for Ethan Mallory. A woman's voice, official and neutral. This is Officer Dana Rios with the City Police Department. We need you to contact us regarding an incident report filed earlier today. Your name has been referenced in connection with a case. Please call us back at this number during business hours. Again, this is regarding Ethan Mallory and an incident report filed today. The message ended. I sat there in the dark, my phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the empty static. Then I played it again. And again. Your name has been referenced in connection with a case. I hadn't done anything. I knew I hadn't done anything. I'd been at work all day, then home. The most exciting thing I'd done was stop for groceries on the way back to my apartment. But my name was in a police report. My full name. Ethan Mallory. I looked at the timestamp on the voicemail. 8:47 p.m., almost 3 hours ago. My hands were shaking. I didn't understand why I was shaking. I set the phone down carefully on the nightstand, like it might explode if I moved too fast. Then I sat on the edge of my bed and stared at the wall. My first thought was that it had to be a mistake. Some administrative error, a typo. My second thought was worse, heavier, like a stone dropping through water. Serena. I picked up the phone again, played the message one more time. Your name has been referenced in connection with a case. Not, you are a suspect. Not, you've been charged. Just referenced. Which meant someone had used my name. Someone had given my name to the police. The tightness in my chest was back, but this time it didn't loosen. This time it stayed. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the voicemail until I had it memorized. At 6 a.m., I gave up, made coffee, and sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open. I needed to understand. I needed to see the pattern. It wasn't hard to find once I started looking. My parents had always protected Serena. I knew that. But I'd never really traced it back, never really examined how deep the programming went. So I started making a list. Not on paper. I opened a document on my laptop and titled it Timeline. Just facts. Just dates. When Serena was 16 and I was 21, she'd gotten caught shoplifting at a department store. Small stuff, makeup, earrings. The security guard had called my parents. I remembered sitting in the living room when they came home, watching my mother cry and my father pace. But the next day, the story had changed. It wasn't shoplifting anymore. It was a misunderstanding. The store had overreacted. Serena had forgotten to pay. My mother called the manager personally, smoothed it over, made it disappear. When Serena was 19, she'd crashed my father's truck into a mailbox at 2 a.m. I was visiting from college that weekend. I heard the crash, ran outside, found her sitting in the driver's seat, dazed and reeking of something that definitely wasn't exhaustion. My father came out, looked at the damage, looked at Serena, and said, "Go inside. Don't say anything." The insurance claim said a deer had run out. My father paid the deductible himself. We never talked about it. When Serena was 23, she'd moved in with a guy none of us had met. Within 3 months, she was calling my mother crying, needing to be picked up in the middle of the night. I'd driven her stuff back from his place while my parents pretended it had been her choice to leave. My mother had used the word toxic a lot, but only about him. Never about the pattern. Never about Serena's role in picking him. Every time, the same script. Something happened. The family closed ranks. The story got rewritten. And every time, I was expected to help. Expected to stay quiet. Expected to be the reliable one who didn't ask questions. I added it all to the timeline. Line by line. Year by year. Then I added the recent stuff. The jobs, the bills, the strange calls, the vague explanations that didn't quite fit together. The way my parents kept calling me to check on her, but got defensive when I actually tried to help. I was still staring at the screen when my phone rang. My mother. I let it ring twice before answering. "Hey, Mom. Ethan." Her voice was tight. "We need to talk about your sister." My stomach dropped. "What happened?" "She's going through a really hard time right now. She made a mistake, and she's very upset, and she needs our support." I closed my laptop slowly. "What kind of mistake?" "It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're her brother, and she needs you to be there for her, not to judge her, not to make things worse." "Mom, I got a call from the police last night." Silence. Then, "That's exactly what I'm talking about. You're so quick to assume the worst about her. You've always been like this, Ethan. Always so hard on her. Do you know how much that hurts her?" "I'm not assuming anything. I'm telling you I got a call. My name is in a police report. That's a misunderstanding. It'll get cleared up, but right now your sister needs support, not accusations. I'm not accusing her of anything. I'm just trying to understand. You always do this. You always make everything about you. Can't you just for once think about what she's going through? She's your sister, Ethan. Family comes first." I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, listening to my mother rewrite reality in real time. It was a talent she'd perfected over decades. The ability to take a fact, turn it sideways, and make it mean something completely different. "I need to go," I said quietly. "Just think about what I said. Please. She needs you." She hung up before I could respond. I sat in my kitchen for a long time after that, my coffee going cold. The morning light came through the window, bright and indifferent. I thought about calling Serena directly, but I already knew how that would go. She'd cry. She'd say I was attacking her. She'd make me feel like I was the problem for even asking. So I didn't call. Instead, I went to work. I walked into the office, sat at my desk, opened my files, and tried to focus on compliance reports and shipping manifests. Tried to lose myself in procedures and checkboxes and the comforting predictability of corporate systems. It almost worked. Until 11:30, when my coworker Mara stopped by my desk. Mara Klein and I had started at the company around the same time. She worked in HR, handled employee relations, and had a reputation for being direct but fair. We'd grabbed lunch together a few times, traded complaints about upper management, developed the kind of easy work friendship that stays inside office walls. "Hey," she said, her voice carefully neutral. "Got a second?" "Sure." I minimized my screen. "What's up?" She glanced around, then lowered her voice. "I heard something. I don't know if it's relevant, but I figured you should know." My pulse spiked. "Okay." "Someone in accounting mentioned your name this morning. Something about police involvement." I shut it down immediately, but she hesitated. "Is everything okay?" I felt my face go hot. "It's nothing. A family thing. It'll get cleared up. Ethan." She looked at me directly. "If there's something going on, you need to get ahead of it. You know how this place is. Rumors spread fast." "I know." I'm serious. If your name is attached to anything official, HR will want to talk. Not because we think you did something, but because we have to document it. Standard procedure. I understand. She studied me for a moment, then nodded. Okay, just be careful, and if you need anything, let me know. After she left, I sat at my desk, staring at my monitor without seeing it. My name was moving. The lie was spreading. It had left my family's living room and entered my workplace. Soon, it would be everywhere. I opened my email. Sure enough, there it was. A calendar invite from HR for tomorrow afternoon. Subject line, quick conversation, confidential. My hands were steady as I clicked accept, but inside, something was shifting, something cold and clear and final. I'd spent my entire adult life being the reliable one, the one who fixed things quietly, the one who absorbed stress so everyone else could stay comfortable. I'd told myself that was love, that was loyalty, that was what family meant. But sitting there at my desk, staring at that HR invite, I finally understood the truth. I wasn't being loyal. I was being erased. My parents didn't love me less than Serena. They just loved their image of the perfect family more than they loved any version of the truth. And Serena knew it, had always known it, and had learned exactly how to use it. My phone buzzed. A text from my father. Your mother is very upset. Call her and apologize. I didn't respond. I added the text to a folder on my phone I'd started that morning. I labeled it simply, Serena Timeline. Then I went back to work. The HR meeting was worse than I'd expected, and I'd expected it to be bad. They'd put me in conference room C, the small one with no windows and institutional gray walls. Mara was there, along with her supervisor, a man named Gerald, whose expression gave away nothing. They sat on one side of the table. I sat on the other. A folder lay between us. Thanks for coming in, Ethan, Mara started. Her voice was professional, careful. This is just a preliminary conversation, nothing formal. We wanted to touch base about something that's come to our attention. I nodded, waited. Gerald cleared his throat. We received information that your name may be connected to a police matter. We're not accusing you of anything. We just need to understand the situation. It's a family issue, I said. My voice came out steady. I'm not involved in anything criminal. There's been a misunderstanding. Can you elaborate? Mara asked gently. My sister has been going through some difficulties. Somehow my name got mentioned in connection with something she was involved in. I'm working to clear it up. Have you been charged with anything? No. Have you been arrested? No. Gerald made a note on the paper in front of him. We need to be clear about our position. This company takes any legal matters seriously. If there are charges filed or if this becomes an active investigation, we'll need to place you on administrative leave pending resolution. The words hit like a punch to the stomach, but I kept my face neutral. I understand. We're not there yet, Mara added quickly. Right now, this is just about making sure we're all on the same page. If you can get documentation that this matter doesn't involve you, that would be helpful. I'm working on it. Good. Gerald stood up. Keep us updated. And Ethan, be careful. These situations can escalate quickly. After they left, I sat in the conference room alone for a few minutes. The fluorescent lights hummed above me. I felt like I was underwater, like I was moving through some thick substance that slowed everything down. My job, my reputation, my name. All of it was suddenly fragile, contingent, subject to revision based on someone else's lies. I left the building during lunch and drove to the police station. I'd never been inside one before. The lobby was exactly what you'd expect. Hard plastic chairs, bulletproof glass, the smell of floor cleaner and stale coffee. I walked up to the window and waited for the woman behind it to look up. Can I help you? My name is Ethan Mallory. I received a call from Officer Rios about an incident report. I'd like to clarify some information. She typed something into her computer. Take a seat, Someone will be with you. I sat and waited. 20 minutes, 30, 40. Around me, people came and went. A man arguing with the clerk about a parking ticket. A woman holding a crying toddler. A teenager who looked scared and lost. Everyone here was a problem to be processed. A file, a case number, not a person. Finally, a woman in uniform came through a side door. "Ethan Mallory?" "That's me. I'm Officer Rios. Come with me." She led me to a small room off the main hallway. 2 chairs, a table, no windows. She sat down and opened a folder. I sat across from her. "You called about an incident report," she said, scanning the pages. "Yes. My name was mentioned. I'd like to know why." "The report involves an incident at a convenience store 2 nights ago. An individual was detained for suspicious behavior and gave your name during booking." I felt everything inside me go very still. "Someone pretended to be me. The individual gave your name and partial identifying information. We're still verifying the details." "I wasn't at any convenience store 2 nights ago. I was at work until 6, then I went home. I can prove it." Officer Rios looked at me for a long moment. "That would be helpful. We'll need documentation. Work records, timestamps, anything that establishes your whereabouts." "Who gave my name?" "I can't disclose that at this time." But I already knew. I could feel it in my bones, in the sick weight in my stomach. "My sister," I said. Not a question. Officer Rios closed the folder. "Get us the documentation. We'll sort this out." I left the station feeling like I'd been scraped hollow, detached, like I was watching myself from outside my own body. I sat in my car in the parking lot and gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. She'd used my name, my full name, my identity, not at a family dinner where she could smile and deny it later. Not in some vague story she told friends. She'd given my name to the police during an arrest. She'd tied me to something criminal, something real, something that left paper trails and digital records. That was the moment everything changed. Not dramatically, not with rage or tears or shouting. Just a quiet click inside my head, a switch flipping from one position to another. I wasn't going to fix this quietly. I wasn't going to absorb it and smooth it over and wait for it to blow past. I was going to handle it the right way, the lawful way, the procedural way, the way that would prove, beyond any doubt, exactly what had happened and exactly who was responsible. I drove home, made dinner, ate mechanically without tasting anything. Then I opened my laptop and got to work. First, the timeline. I expanded the document I'd started, adding every detail I could remember from the past 5 years. Dates, times, locations. Every favor, every ride, every bill paid. Every moment of enabling I'd participated in. Then I started building my case. I pulled up my work calendar and took screenshots of my schedule for the past month. I logged into my badge access system and confirmed every time I'd swiped in and out of the building. I went through my credit card statements, looking for purchases that could establish my location. I checked my phone's location history and exported the data. By midnight, I had a folder on my desktop titled Serena Timeline. Inside were documents, spreadsheets, screenshots, and detailed notes. Nothing emotional, nothing accusatory, just facts, dates, evidence. My phone buzzed. A text from the family group chat, the one my mother had set up years ago. "Serena, I can't believe Ethan is doing this to me when I need support. He's always been jealous of me, always trying to make me look bad. I'm going through the hardest time of my life and my own brother is attacking me." My mother, "We love you, honey. Don't listen to him." My father, "Stay strong." I read it twice. Then I took a screenshot and added it to the folder. Then I did something I should have done a long time ago. I called a lawyer, not a family lawyer, not someone my parents knew. I found a name through a work contact, someone who specialized in criminal defense and identity matters. The phone rang 4 times before a man answered. "Pierce Law, Jonah Pierce speaking." Mr. Pierce, my name is Ethan Mallory. I need legal advice about an identity misuse situation. Tell me what happened, I told him, calmly, methodically, the facts only, the voicemail, the HR meeting, the police station visit, the family history that explained why this had been allowed to escalate. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, there was a pause. Can you come to my office tomorrow morning? He asked. Yes. Bring everything you have, documentation, messages, anything that establishes your whereabouts and the pattern of behavior you described. We need to build a complete picture. I will. And Ethan? Don't talk to your family about this. Not yet. Don't explain what you're doing. Don't defend yourself. Just collect evidence and stay quiet. Understood. After we hung up, I sat in the dark of my apartment, listening to the silence. Outside my window, the city hummed with its usual nighttime sounds, traffic, sirens in the distance, the world moving forward like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. I could feel it. The old Ethan, the one who smoothed things over and kept the peace and carried everyone else's weight, he was gone. What was left was someone harder, clearer, someone who understood that the only way to survive a system designed to erase you was to make the system work for you instead. I opened my laptop one more time and added a final note to the timeline. First consultation with attorney scheduled, building case. Then I went to bed, and for the first time in days, I slept. Jonah Pierce's office was on the third floor of an old building downtown. The waiting room had worn leather chairs and law books lining the walls. When he came out to meet me, he was younger than I'd expected, maybe mid-40s, with sharp eyes and a firm handshake. Ethan, come in. His office was small but organized, files stacked neatly on the desk, a laptop open with multiple windows visible. He gestured to a chair across from him and sat down. Walk me through it again, he said. This time, I'm going to take notes. I did. I told him everything. The family history, the pattern of protection, the voicemail, the HR meeting, the police station visit, the confirmation that someone had used my name during booking. He typed rapidly, stopping occasionally to ask questions. How long ago was the convenience store incident? 2 nights before I got the call, a Tuesday. And you have documentation of where you were? Yes. I was at work until 6. I have badge swipes. I stopped at the grocery store on my way home around 6:30. I used my credit card. Then I was home the rest of the night. Good. What about the booking itself? Did they tell you what the original charges were? No, just that someone was detained for suspicious behavior. He made another note. We'll request the full report. Booking records, intake information, any video or recordings from the scene. If your sister used your name, there'll be documentation of that. How long does that take? Depends. Some records we can get quickly, others take weeks, but we'll start the process immediately. He looked up from his screen. I need to be clear about something, Ethan. This isn't just about clearing your name. Based on what you've told me, your sister may have committed identity fraud. That's a serious offense. Are you prepared for what happens if we pursue this fully? I met his eyes. Yes. Your family won't be happy. I know. You'll probably lose them, at least for a while, maybe permanently. I understand. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. Okay. Then here's what we do. First, we build an airtight timeline proving you weren't involved. Second, we document the pattern of behavior, not to attack your sister, but to establish credibility when we explain how this happened. Third, we wait for the official records and let them speak for themselves. The system will do the work. We just have to make sure it has good information. How much will this cost? My retainer is $3,000. After that, we bill by the hour. But I'll be honest with you. I think this case will be fairly straightforward once we have the records. The truth is pretty clear here. I pulled out my checkbook, wrote the check, handed it to him. One more thing, he said. Don't engage with your family right now. Don't defend yourself. Don't explain what you're doing. They'll try to pressure you. Your mother will call. Your sister will send emotional messages. Your father will probably try the guilt angle. Ignore all of it. Stay quiet and let me handle the legal side. What if they show up at my apartment? Don't let them in. If they become aggressive, call the police. Document everything. I left his office feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Control. Not over them. Not over what had happened, but over my response. Over the process. Over the outcome. The next few days became a rhythm. Work during the day. Documentation at night. I spent hours going through old emails, text messages, bank statements. I created spreadsheets tracking every favor I'd done for Serena, every bill I'd covered, every time I'd bailed her out of a situation. Not because I wanted to shame her, because I needed to show the pattern, the long history of enabling, the family dynamic that made this possible. I requested records from my workplace, badge access logs, email timestamps, calendar data. I went to the DMV and got copies of my driver's license and registration. I visited the grocery store I'd stopped at that Tuesday night and asked if they could pull security footage. They couldn't, but the manager gave me a receipt from their system showing my credit card purchase at 6:32 p.m. Every piece of evidence went into a folder on my laptop. Every document got backed up to the cloud. I was building something solid, something that couldn't be argued with or rewritten or explained away. My parents called 6 times that week. I let every call go to voicemail. My mother's messages started gentle and escalated to angry. "We need to talk about this as a family." Then, "You're being very selfish." Then, "How can you do this to your sister?" My father left one message, his voice gruff and uncomfortable. "Your mother wants you to call. It would mean a lot to her." I didn't call back. Serena sent texts. Long, emotional paragraphs about how hurt she was, how betrayed she felt, how I was abandoning her when she needed me most. I screenshotted every message and added them to the folder. The language was revealing. Lots of "I feel" statements, lots of vague accusations, but never any acknowledgement of what she'd actually done. Never any explanation for why my name had ended up in a police report. On Friday, I got a call from Jonah. "We got the initial records back," he said. "You need to come to my office." "Is it bad?" "It's exactly what we thought, but you should see it yourself." I left work early and drove downtown. When I walked into Jonah's office, he had papers spread across his desk. "Sit down," he said. I sat. The booking report shows that a female individual was detained at a convenience store parking lot on Tuesday, September 12th at approximately 7:45 p.m. The responding officers found her acting erratically. When they asked for identification, she initially refused. Eventually, she provided a name. He looked up at me. "Your name, Ethan Mallory." My stomach tightened. "Did she have ID?" "No, she claimed she'd lost her wallet. The officers ran the name through their system, which brought up your information, age, general description. She gave a date of birth that was close but not exact. They proceeded with booking under your name." "How is that possible? Don't they verify?" "They're supposed to. But if someone is cooperative and provides details that seem plausible, sometimes it slips through, especially during a busy night shift. The officers had no reason to doubt the information at that moment. So my name is in their system as the person who was detained." "Yes, but we have your timeline. Your badge records show you leaving work at 6:03 p.m. Your credit card shows a purchase at 6:32 p.m. at a grocery store 15 miles away from the convenience store where the incident occurred. You couldn't have been in both places. What happens now?" "Now we file a formal dispute. We provide all your documentation to the police department and request that the record be corrected. We also request the full incident report, any video footage, and the identity of the actual person who was detained. Once they realize there's been a misidentification, they'll have to investigate." "And Serena?" Jonah's expression was carefully neutral. "If the evidence shows she deliberately used your identity, she'll be charged with identity fraud. That's a felony. She could face jail time." The words hung in the air between us. Jail time. My sister. The same sister my parents had protected for decades. The same sister who'd been crying and claiming I was attacking her. "Are you sure you want to proceed?" Jonah asked quietly. I thought about the HR meeting, the way my co-workers had started looking at me, the voicemail from Officer Rios, the sick feeling in my stomach every time I thought about my name attached to something I hadn't done. I thought about my mother's voice. Family comes first. But I wasn't the one who'd broken the family. I was just the one who'd stopped pretending. "I'm sure," I said. That weekend, my parents showed up at my apartment. I heard the knock and looked through the peephole. My mother stood there, arms crossed, my father behind her, looking uncomfortable. I didn't open the door. "Ethan!" My mother's voice, sharp through the wood. "We know you're in there. Open up. We need to talk." I stayed silent. "Ethan, this is ridiculous. We're your parents. Open the door." I walked away from the door and sat on my couch. Waited. They knocked for 5 more minutes. Then I heard my mother's voice, louder now. "Fine. If you want to throw away your family over this, that's your choice. But don't come crying to us when you realize what you've done." Their footsteps faded down the hallway. I sat there for a long time, listening to the silence of my apartment. And I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel sad. I felt clear. Because I'd finally understood something fundamental. You can't fix people who don't want to be fixed. You can't force truth into a family that's built on denial. All you can do is protect yourself and let the systems work. And that's exactly what I was going to do. The next week was the quietest of my life. Not peaceful. Quiet in the way a held breath is quiet, tense, waiting. I went to work, came home, checked my email obsessively for updates from Jonah, made small talk with colleagues who were carefully, obviously, trying not to ask about rumors they'd heard. Mara stopped by my desk twice to ask if I was okay. I told her I was handling it. On Tuesday morning, I got the call I'd been waiting for. "We have a court date," Jonah said. 2 weeks from today. The police reviewed your documentation and agreed there was a misidentification. The case against you has been dropped, but now they're pursuing the actual person who used your name. So they know it was Serena. They have enough evidence to charge her with false identification and filing a false report. The prosecutor is moving forward. What does that mean for me? It means you'll need to be present to verify your documentation. You'll probably be called as a witness, but the focus will be on her, not you. Your part is simple. Show up, tell the truth, confirm your whereabouts. And my family? A pause. They'll probably be there. I want you prepared for that. Your parents will try to turn this into a referendum on your character. They'll act like you're attacking your sister instead of just defending yourself. Don't engage. Don't argue. Stay calm and let the facts speak. I can do that. Good. I'll send you the official notice today. Mark the date. Don't be late. After we hung up, I sat at my desk staring at nothing. 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, this would be over, one way or another. That evening, I got a text from an unknown number. I almost didn't open it. But something made me look. "This is Serena. I had to use someone else's phone because you blocked me. I just want you to know that you're destroying our family. Mom is devastated. Dad won't even talk about you. And for what? Because you can't forgive me for one mistake? Because you have to be right? I hope whatever you're trying to prove is worth losing everyone who loves you." I read it 3 times. Then I screenshotted it, added it to the folder, and deleted the message. The thing about manipulation is that it only works if you let it. If you argue, if you defend, if you feel guilty enough to question yourself. But I'd spent the last month building a case out of facts, not feelings. And facts don't care how many people are devastated. The week crawled by. I kept working, kept documenting, kept my head down. On Thursday, my mother called from a number I didn't recognize. I answered before I realized it wasn't her usual number. "Ethan." Her voice was cold, hard. "We need to have a family meeting." "I don't think that's a good idea." "I'm not asking. We're your parents. You owe us at least a conversation before you completely ruin your sister's life." "I'm not ruining anything. I'm just telling the truth." The truth is that you've always been jealous of Serena, always looking for ways to make her look bad. And now, you've found one." "Mom?" "Sunday night, 7 p.m. Your father and I will be at the house. Serena will be there. You'll be there. We're going to settle this like adults instead of dragging lawyers and courts into our family business." "I have a court date in 10 days. That's where this gets settled. Ethan James Mallory, if you don't show up on Sunday, you are dead to me. Do you understand? You will not be our son anymore." The line went quiet, not silent. I could hear her breathing, waiting. 7 p.m., she said again. "Don't be late." She hung up. I sat there holding the phone, my hand shaking, not from fear, from anger, the kind of anger that's been building for 38 years and finally has nowhere else to go, dead to me, after everything, after decades of being the reliable one, the fixer, the one who never complained, after covering bills and making excuses and absorbing everyone else's chaos, after having my name used in a criminal case, after almost losing my job, dead to her, because I wouldn't carry someone else's consequences anymore. I called Jonah. "They're setting up a family meeting," I told him. "Sunday night. My mother says if I don't come, she's disowning me. Are you planning to go?" I was quiet for a long moment. "I don't know." "My advice? Don't. Nothing good can come from it. They'll pressure you to drop the case, to take responsibility for something you didn't do, to protect Serena at your own expense. And if you refuse, they'll use it against you. They'll say you were given a chance to handle it privately and you chose not to. So I just don't show up." "You show up where it matters, in court, where there are rules and records and a judge who doesn't care about family dynamics. That's your battlefield, Ethan, not their living room." But I couldn't stop thinking about it. The meeting, the ultimatum, the last chance to maybe, somehow, make them understand. On Saturday, I made a decision. I would go. Not because I thought it would change anything, but because I wanted them to see me, really see me, one last time before it all fell apart. Sunday evening came too fast. I drove to my parents' house in silence, my hands tight on the wheel. When I pulled into the driveway, I saw Serena's car already there, lights on in the living room. The stage was set. I sat in my car for 5 minutes, breathing slowly. Then I got out and walked to the door. My mother opened it before I could knock. Her face was composed, but her eyes were hard. "You came," she said, not warmly. "You asked me to. Come in. Everyone's waiting." The living room looked exactly as it always had. Family photos on the walls, the couch where we'd sat for 1,000 Sunday dinners, my father in his usual chair, and Serena on the love seat, her face carefully arranged into something sad and wounded. "Sit," my mother said, gesturing to a chair. I sat. Nobody spoke for a moment. Then my father cleared his throat. "We called you here because this has gotten out of hand," he started. His voice was rough, uncomfortable. "We're a family. We don't handle things like this. We talk. We work it out. We forgive." "I agree," I said quietly. "So let's talk. Serena, why did you use my name when you were detained?" The room went very still. "I didn't," Serena said. Her voice was small, shaky. "I don't know where you got that idea, but I never—" "Stop." I kept my voice level. "I've seen the booking report. I have the records. I know exactly what happened." "You're lying," my mother said sharply. "You're trying to frame her." "I'm not trying to frame anyone. I'm just stating facts." "Facts?" My mother stood up, her whole body vibrating with anger. "The fact is that you've always been jealous of your sister, always looking for ways to tear her down, and now you've stooped to this, making up stories, hiring lawyers, dragging her name through the mud." "Her name? What about mine? What about my job? What about the fact that I almost got arrested for something I didn't do? That's not her fault, my father said. There was obviously a mistake somewhere. These things happen. It wasn't a mistake, Dad. She deliberately gave my name to the police. Serena stood up suddenly, tears streaming down her face. I can't believe you're doing this. I made one mistake. One. And you're trying to destroy me. I'm your sister, Ethan. Doesn't that mean anything to you? Tell them the truth, Serena. Right now, tell them what you did. I didn't do anything. Then why is my name in the police report? Why do the officers have a recording of someone claiming to be me? Why? Enough! My mother's voice cut through the room like a knife. I will not sit here and listen to you attack your sister. You have a choice, Ethan. You can drop this ridiculous case and apologize to Serena, or you can walk out that door and never come back. I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman who'd raised me, who'd taught me right from wrong, who'd always said family was everything. And I saw the truth. She'd meant it. Family was everything. But not me. Not the real me. Just the version of me that stayed quiet and fixed problems and never asked for accountability. I'm not apologizing, I said. Then you're not our son. The words landed heavy and final. I stood up slowly, looked at my father, who wouldn't meet my eyes, looked at Serena, who was crying harder now, her performance reaching its peak, looked at my mother, standing rigid with righteous anger. I'll see you in court, I said. I walked to the door. Nobody tried to stop me. I got in my car, started the engine, and drove away. And I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't feel anything except a strange, weightless clarity, because I'd finally learned the difference between family and truth. And I'd chosen truth. The courthouse was older than I'd expected, all stone columns and heavy doors. I arrived 30 minutes early and sat in the lobby, watching people stream past, lawyers with briefcases, families clustered in worried groups, individuals sitting alone with haunted expressions. Jonah found me at 8:45. Ready? As I'll ever be. Remember what we talked about? Answer questions directly. Don't elaborate unless asked. Don't let emotion drive your responses. This is about facts, not feelings. I know. Your family is here. They're waiting in the hallway near courtroom 3. Try not to engage before we go in. My pulse jumped. Okay. We walked down a long corridor, our footsteps echoing on marble floors. Then I saw them. My parents sitting on a bench, my mother's face set in hard lines, my father staring at the floor, and Serena, pacing, her face pale and anxious. They all looked up when they saw me. My mother's eyes narrowed. Serena stopped pacing. Ethan, Serena said, her voice breaking. Please. You don't have to do this. We can still fix this. We're family. We can... Don't, Jonah said quietly. Not now. You're his lawyer? My mother stood up. You're helping him destroy his own sister? I'm helping him tell the truth, ma'am, that's all. A bailiff appeared at the courtroom door. Mallory case. We're ready. The courtroom was smaller than I'd imagined from TV. Wood-paneled walls, rows of benches. The judge's bench elevated at the front. We filed in. Jonah and me on one side, Serena and a public defender on the other, my parents in the gallery behind her. Judge Helen Ward entered, and we all stood. She was a woman in her 50s with steel gray hair and an expression that suggested she'd heard every excuse ever invented. Be seated, she said. Let's begin. The prosecutor, a lean woman with sharp features, stood up. Your Honor, this is a preliminary hearing regarding charges of false identification and filing a false report. The state has gathered evidence showing that the defendant, Serena Mallory, deliberately used her brother's identity during a police detention. Proceed, the judge said. The prosecutor laid it out methodically. The incident at the convenience store, the responding officers, the booking procedure where a name was given, My name. The discovery that the person detained was not Ethan Mallory, but someone else. Then came the evidence. We have the original booking report, the prosecutor said, holding up a document. The subject claimed to be Ethan Mallory, gave a date of birth close to the real Ethan Mallory's, and provided physical descriptions that were intentionally vague. No ID was produced. She pulled up a video on a screen at the front of the courtroom. This is footage from the booking area. You can hear the defendant being asked for identification. The screen showed a hallway, fluorescent lights, a desk, and Serena, her voice tinny through the speakers. Name? Ethan Mallory. Date of birth? A pause. Then she gave a date, not mine, but close. Off by 2 years. Address? She gave my address, the one I'd lived at for 4 years. I felt sick watching it, not because I was surprised, but because there it was. Undeniable. Recorded. Her voice saying my name, claiming my identity, tying me to something I had no part in. The prosecutor turned to the judge. We also have documentation from the real Ethan Mallory showing his whereabouts at the time of the incident. Work records, credit card statements, location data, all of it proves he was not at the scene. Jonah stood. Your Honor, I'd like to submit these records into evidence. He handed over a folder. Everything we'd built over the past month. Time-stamped badge swipes, credit card receipts, email logs, calendar screenshots, a complete timeline showing exactly where I was and what I was doing when Serena was being detained 15 miles away. The judge reviewed the documents in silence. The courtroom was so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. Finally, she looked up. Miss Mallory, do you have anything to say? Serena's lawyer whispered something to her. She shook her head. Then she stood, her voice shaking. I didn't mean to hurt him. I was scared. I panicked. I didn't think... You didn't think using your brother's name would have consequences? The judge asked, her voice flat. I was confused. I wasn't thinking clearly. But you knew his name, his address, enough information to make the identification seem plausible. I didn't want to get in trouble. I thought if I used his name, it would just go away. And did you consider what would happen to your brother? Serena looked down. I thought I'd fix it, before anyone knew. But you didn't fix it. And now he's here, with documentation showing he almost lost his job, that he was questioned by police, that his name was attached to a criminal case. Because of you. I didn't mean... Intent is not the question here. Actions are. The judge looked at the documents again. Based on the evidence presented, I find sufficient cause to move forward with charges against Serena Mallory for false identification and filing a false report. These are serious offenses. This is not a family dispute. This is criminal misuse of another person's identity. Behind me, I heard my mother gasp. My father said something low and urgent. The judge continued. I'm ordering a formal arraignment for 2 weeks from today. Miss Mallory, you are required to appear. If you fail to appear, a warrant will be issued. Do you understand? Yes, Serena whispered. As for Ethan Mallory, all charges and associations with the original incident are hereby dismissed and stricken from the record. You are cleared of any involvement. Relief hit me like a wave. Cleared. It was over. My name was clean. However, the judge said, looking at both of us, I want to address something. This situation arose from a family dynamic that clearly needs professional intervention. I strongly recommend that all parties seek counseling separately or together to address the underlying issues. This court deals with the legal consequences, but the personal damage will take longer to heal. She tapped her gavel once. Next case. The bailiff called everyone to stand. The judge left, and suddenly the courtroom was moving, people gathering papers, conversation starting. I stood up slowly. Jonah put a hand on my shoulder. You did it, he said quietly. It's done. I turned and saw my parents staring at me. My mother's face was white. My father looked 10 years older than he had an hour ago. Serena was crying, her lawyer speaking urgently to her. They didn't approach me, they didn't say a word. They just stood there as Serena was led out for processing, as the reality crashed down around them. The perfect family, shattered. I walked out of the courtroom into the bright hallway. My phone buzzed immediately, a text from Mara. HR just got official notification that your case is dismissed. You're cleared. Welcome back. I stood there in the corridor, people flowing around me, and I felt something I hadn't felt in months, maybe years. I felt free, not happy, not vindicated, not triumphant, just free. Free from the weight of other people's lies. Free from the obligation to fix things that weren't my fault. Free from the role I'd been assigned before I was old enough to refuse it. Jonah walked out behind me. Where do you go from here? I thought about it. My apartment, my job, my life that was waiting for me, cleaned and cleared of someone else's mess. Home, I said. I'm going home. Outside, the sun was bright and harsh. I walked to my car, got in, and sat there for a moment. Then I pulled out my phone and opened the folder labeled Serena Timeline. All those documents, all that evidence, all those hours of careful, methodical work. I backed it up one more time, then I closed the folder. Because I didn't need it anymore. The system had worked. The truth had won. And I was done carrying weight that wasn't mine. I started the car and drove away from the courthouse. In my rearview mirror, the building got smaller and smaller until it disappeared, and I didn't look back.